Once upon a time, in a green valley surrounded by tall mountains, there was a small village called Ilaria. The villagers worked hard and believed in many gods who they thought controlled nature and their lives. An old storyteller named Aemon often told stories to the children by the fire. One evening, as the sun set, Aemon began his story. A long time ago, he said, there was a big famine in Ilaria. The crops died, and the rivers dried up. The villagers, hungry and desperate, thought they had angered the gods. They prayed and offered sacrifices, asking for help. But the famine didn't end. People started saying the gods had abandoned them. A young man named Aiden stood up and shouted, "The gods are to blame. They have left us." Angry and scared, the villagers followed Aiden to their temple to destroy the statues of the gods. As they got closer, a thunderstorm started, and lightning lit up the sky. The villagers were frightened and stopped. An old hermit came out of the temple, his robes torn and worn. He spoke with a strong voice, "The gods are not to be blamed. This famine is not a punishment, but a test." The villagers were confused. Aiden, still angry, asked, "If the gods are not to blame, then who is?" The hermit pointed to the sky and said, "Look around you. For years, you have taken from the land without giving back. You have cut down the forests, polluted the rivers, and exhausted the soil. This famine is because of your actions, not the gods' anger." The villagers realized the hermit was right. They admitted their mistakes and promised to change. With the hermit's help, they started to take care of the land. They planted trees, cleaned the rivers, and farmed better. Slowly, the land recovered, and the famine ended. Years later, Ilaria was a thriving village again. The memory of the famine and the hermit's wisdom became very important to them. They learned that the gods were not to be blamed for their problems, they had to take responsibility for their actions. As Aemon finished his story, the children sat quietly, thinking about what they had heard. "Remember," he said, "the gods guide us, but we shape our own fate. We must take care of our world because our actions decide our future." The children nodded, understanding the lesson. And so, the village of Ilaria continued to thrive, always remembering that the gods are not to be blamed and that true change comes from within.